The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce was originally broadcast on September 17th, 2024.
It's time now for Business Matters, brought to you by the Maui Chamber of Commerce. And now, here's your host, the president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, Pam Toompop. Good morning, Pam. How's things on the Big Island there, Pam?
Oh, it is so gorgeous here, Gary. I have both a mountain and ocean view in my room. So it is just so beautiful to see at this time in the morning. It's very calm and peaceful. How's everything back home on Maui?
So it's a little sticky this morning.
Oh, well, then I'm glad it's very lovely here. Oh. Well, thank you for all you did for the show, and I just want to welcome everybody listening. I am on the Big Island today, reaching out to you from here because it is the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement Big Annual Conference. And so that is taking place this week, and I'm thrilled to get to be a part of it. And we'll be excited to share some of the things that we've learned here and all of the different breakout sessions with you in the coming radio shows. But this morning we are going to talk to Susie Thieman, the Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and then hear a little bit more from Cymbree. And Cymbree has Cymz Creations and is an amazing entrepreneur. But we wanted to continue our conversation from last week. If you were listening in, we just started to talk about some of the things occurring in insurance and its impact on housing projects. And so Susie, who is the Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, just to remind you a little bit about her role, she is a community development nonprofit organization that is building affordable housing, housing people with special needs. She helps with business startup assistance and features help with commercial kitchens and has one in her building. She also has office incubators, training rooms, and so many amazing services, including a fiscal sponsorship program to help with various events and other programs. And we're going to talk about one of those as well. And she has a long history of community service, too long to mention all of those, but boards, advisory councils, task force, committees, and associations, and has garnered honors throughout the years, including honors from the SBA, Hawaii Business Magazine, and the American Heart and Lung Association. So today we're going to talk about what's going on in insurance and how it's affecting her housing program. Good morning, Susie. Great to have you on.
Hey, good morning, Pam. I'm sitting out here on my deck listening to the chickens and whoever else is out here. It's a beautiful day looking down country.
It's a beautiful day from Kula. Oh, I'm glad. But probably not sticky up in Kula.
It's what?
It's probably not sticky up in Kula.
Not sticky? I don't know. It is a little bit.
Is it? Okay.
It's so still.
Oh, okay. Gary was saying it was a little sticky in my lips.
Yeah, I think we got it everywhere here today.
Well, like I said, I haven't been outside, so come to think of it, I am sitting in an air-conditioned room.
Oh,
well, so we'll see what happens later. And good news is I'm going to be on a great tour of the Big Island. But let's continue our discussion. And I'm so sorry we had to end, and as you know very well with your radio show, when it's time to go, we got to just go.
That's right.
But we were just starting to talk about what was going on with insurance and how it was affecting your housing program. Maybe if you could start kind of from the beginning, if we can backtrack a little bit, so we can give everybody on this session the complete picture of what's going on and what it means for your housing program.
Well, it's always interesting when insurance companies start talking about rate hikes. And we usually, in that context, we usually think of rate hikes as, maybe 2%, 3%, 10%, 12%, whatever. But we were startled this year at Lokahi because our commercial package, basically the fire insurance, went up by 600%.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
You're just sitting there stunned and you're saying, wait a minute, where was the warning for this? And then they say, okay, well, you knew that everything was going up. And it's, we've heard numbers like 10%. We've heard numbers like 50%. We've even heard a few cases where it's gone up 200% maybe. But 600%? Whoa, what's wrong? So we asked our agents, okay, how did this happen, and how come we're like a week away from renewal and we're being presented with this terrible bill? So they presented us with the package of all the different companies that they had turned to for quotes. They'd gone through about 22 different companies, and 18 of them said flat out no. And the reason
they didn't even want to insure.
Huh?
Yeah. So they were saying they don't even want to insure in Hawaii. They don't want to pick up this insurance in Hawaii.
Well, no, actually, none of them said Hawaii. None of them said boo about Hawaii.
Okay.
What they said was
just said
that you house HUD people.
Oh.
And it's like, wait a minute, wait, stop, guys.
Yeah.
HUD, what's the issue? I have never heard of any major catastrophes, and I knocked on wood when I said that, in a HUD project that was caused by a fire or a tenant, is what you're trying to tell me, I think.
Right.
And they said, well, no, it's the habitational housing. And I said, wait a minute, isn't that a form of discrimination?
Yes, sounds like it to me.
It's just on the surface, it hits you. And I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and so after we finished our discussion with our agent, I called our HUD executive in San Francisco and told her what happened, and she said, they actually said that was the reason they weren't going to quote you. And I said, yeah, I've got it here in writing. The 18 companies, 12 of which said point blank, the HUD, they either called it HUD housing or habitational housing. And it's in black and white. And she said, Suze, can you send that to me? She said, we've got to discuss this with the higher ups. And she said, I know rates across the country are going up, and so we're trying to figure out how we can get more money for the side of where we, pay you more for the subsidies, because there's no way the tenant can get an increase like that. They're limited to 30% of their income.
Absolutely. But what's the issue? What were they? So they were blindsided as well. So where's this coming from?
That's a good question, and I'm still waiting for that answer. We're basically a month into this new policy. We've paid out $70-some thousand on it already.
Wow!
But I'm waiting for an answer because she said it's going to go straight to the top for some discussion, and so I'm hoping that I don't know what they can do. How do you force an insurance company to write a policy?
That's going to be a very good question, but it's really, well, first of all, I was thinking you were going to say, and we had just started to talk about this and never really got there last week, but I thought a good, I knew you mentioned HUD was going to try and help, but I was thinking of, it's from everything I've been hearing of, well, of course, it's related to the wildfires. We've had the governor say, there might be insurers who don't want to insure in Hawaii anymore, like we saw what happened at Volcano here on the Big Island. So, there were so many things around that. But to discriminate against a federal program.
Well, that's what floored me. But the other thing is that the insurance companies are saying there have been so many catastrophes across the U.S. and actually around the world. You name it, it happens, right? I mean, it's people are talking about revelations at this point, but it's
back to biblical days. Yeah.
I mean, it really is crazy.
Yeah,
it seems
scary.
like every day some place is being hit by a disaster. And on the news this morning, North Carolina got hit hard. I mean, it's just it's just one thing after another, and that's what the insurance companies are saying. You may not have this, but you've got that, or you have the potential for this. And we just, because of their reinsurance package, they have to be ready for it. And so they can't write if they can't get reinsurance for it. So we're sitting here, we're struggling, but obviously we have to make the payment, because if we don't have full coverage for our HUD properties, we lose our HUD contracts, and that's our business. Right. That's the meat and potatoes of what we do and the basis of the organization in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be fixed, and from a HUD programmatic standpoint, they're going to have to fix this, probably not just in Hawaii, but across the country then. But it's
That's
interesting
what they're
that
saying.
This is a broad scale problem, and like you said, what's interesting is in their description, they're characterizing it that way, and yet it probably would have been smarter if they characterized it the way you just mentioned it, about, Armageddon and all the other things that are happening with climate change across the country and globe. Yeah.
That's what was interesting to me, is because if that's really the case, why didn't they just say that? Why did they go into this habitational housing routine?
Yeah.
Is that your reason, or isn't it? And if it is, they could have some issues, I would think.
Yeah, I think that their premise is very scary and frightening, in that, HUD recognized the people, these are the people who've truly need us. These are the people we really need to protect. And the amount of insurance carriers and say that is very interesting, and have declined so many is very scary.
I think too the interesting piece is going to be, how they decide, or how HUD decides to what extent they can help everybody, because ours sounds like an extreme situation. As compared to, like some of the others that do HUD housing over here. Now, part of our issue, I think, is the age of some of our properties. We do have some units that were built back in the 80s and 90s. And while to you and I, that doesn't seem like a long time ago. But when it comes to construction, a lot of things have changed since then.
Yeah, good point.
So at what point would it make sense to rebuild? I don't know if that's even a possibility. It's kind of like that old story, you finally get something paid off and you got to replace it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess, I remember when, just within my family, I remember when the standard for hurricane clips came in. And we didn't have hurricane clips on our home. And I remember my dad went right out and, installed hurricane clips. And there's so many new ways of reinforcing at least hurricane clips when it comes to housing. I don't know about the big concrete buildings, but I would think that really this is going to be a fascinating thing as we watch this evolve, because I would think in some of their response, they'd say, listen, we know, and we first saw that big collapse in Florida with the condominium that sort of just disintegrated. We know we've got some aging infrastructure on Maui, and they almost got things by the shoreline that is struggling. So I think, the insurance realm is, but what's interesting is they're not really saying, okay, we could insure this, but here are the modifications we want to see to the building. Here's where we've seen significant challenges, whether it be HUD housing or whatever, to say, okay, these kinds of things can be fixed, which would lower your insurance rate. But it doesn't even sound like they're having discussions. You're just getting a lot of declinations and a whopping increase.
Yeah, the tallest property, or the tallest building we have, is 2 stories. Most of our stuff is 1 story. almost some of them are like cabin-like, and others are long rows of apartments. But it's just, I don't know. It was just such a shock because, yes, we expected an increase, but definitely not that.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, you've always got those who say, well, did the agents do their best to get us numbers? And looking at the report they gave us, I'm sitting here saying, hey, they're one of the most respected insurance agents in the state of Hawaii. So I've got to believe they did everything they could for us. And given the list of people or insurance companies they contacted and tried to work with, it's an all-star list. I mean, I don't know, but what we ended up with was 4 companies who would each do like $5 million in coverage, and none of our properties have. Well, I shouldn't say that. We have one, I think, that hits the $5 million mark by itself, but most of them are between $3 to $4 million. And it's like, okay, so the company first in line would pay, if that was totaled, they would pay that, and then it would drop down to the next. Once their $5 million is used, it would drop down to the next company. And so each company after that first one, the rates got a little better, but the chances, because they're so spread out,
right.
It's not like we're concentrated somewhere. You kind of sit there and go, well, the last 2 guys probably don't have a chance in the world unless we have a total destruction of Maui.
Oh, my gracious.
So,
are you getting the governor and his team involved in this too?
Well,
I know he's trying to work on it from a different angle.
Yeah, we did send a letter over to the governor's office asking, he's trying to help the condo owners with their insurance issues. And I think that the last thing I heard was that the insurance office, the insurance commissioner or something, had kind of said, oh, yeah, that's happening everywhere kind of thing. And we didn't feel like that was a satisfaction. But, I mean, we've got to continue because there's just, by the time we get to the end of this year, and I mean, if we have managed to take out $260,000 more out of our budget than we had anticipated at the start of the year, I mean, hello, that's $250,000.
Yeah. That's insane. That's really insane.
Well, we're an organization that doesn't do fundraisers.
Yes, I know. You really have done such amazing work, honestly, and you're constantly trying to have, be so sensitive in the nonprofit world, recognizing, right, that so many other nonprofits really need to do fundraisers and keep things going, and you folks have found a way to cover the nuts that you need to cover to make amazing things happen. And sadly, to see something like this is just a crazy hit, but it's definitely something that we're all going to have to figure out how to solve. And I'm really hoping HUD comes through with an amazing solution on this. But I think the whole insurance thing is going to be a wild ride moving forward.
Yeah, well, about 7 years ago when we finished our last, I shouldn't say the last, but our last one to date, housing subdivisions that we built, that was always our carry forward funds for like the next 3 years or 4 years to when we'd have a new one built. And so that was, I guess you could call that our fundraiser to cover our carrying costs and everything. But with all the changes that have happened in the council and the different departments of the county, it's just doesn't make sense for us to try to compete against these big guys that are trying to do all the housing here on Maui. So that's when we jumped into the fiscal sponsor program. And started working with other smaller agencies who didn't have back offices so they could get grants of various sizes. And that has sustained us thankfully. We've done a pretty good job in building that year over year. I think this year we're going to hit over $2 million in grants.
You really have done, and a diverse array of grants, and I'm really excited you sent me a video the other day on Cars for Maui, which is one of your fiscal sponsorship clients. Tell us a little bit about that company in particular, because I think it was such a novel and great idea they came up with, and how awesome for you to get to be a part of this program and being the fiscal agent for it.
Well, it was kind of a fluke, actually. I mean, they started out. They're both Kula residents, and they started working up here when they had the Kula fire a year ago, and got to know each other a little bit while they were volunteering for things there. And they got talking about what other kinds of things maybe were needed and nobody was addressing. And they came up with the idea of trying to help the people who had lost their cars. There were over, 400 or so vehicles that were lost in the fires. And a lot of those people, that was their one and only means of transportation. So not only did many of them lose their homes, but they also lost their means of transportation. In some cases, they had insurance that covered, well, we know how car insurance goes and how the car values go.
Right.
So for some of them, it didn't really help them find a new car or buy a new car. And for others, they got moved to parts of the island where a car was almost essential. And there they sat. Well, the governor had worked some deals with some of the car dealers to give them discounts. If people came in and had some insurance money, could they help them get a better deal on a used car? And some of the dealerships said, sure, we'll help them out as much as we can. And then I think, was it CNHA who came up with a $5,000, it was either a loan or a grant that they would give the Native Hawaiians who had lost cars. Well, the last thing they need is, if it was a loan, was a loan. I mean,
right.
That's not what you're looking for. And I can't say for sure because I don't remember which it was, but even that at $5,000, it was something, but it's still, it's a car.
It didn't get them there. Yeah.
And so these guys, this is Beth Holiday and Mark Tucker, who came up with the idea of, let's raise some money and let's buy some cars and let's give them to the deserving people based on the need. And so they put together a whole program, and they raised something like $30,000-$40,000 from various different sources. And they did, I think, it was like 8 cars they got out into the community, right, almost right away. And then they started looking for more money, because all of a sudden they had 100 applications, and then they had 150 applications. And they said, well, we're not going to be able to do this raising, nickels and dimes. And so they came to us and said, can you help us? And we said, well, we can sure give it a try, because I think what you're doing is very, very important. We've heard stories. I mean, we had people who lost everything in the fire in our subdivision over there. And so we were very aware of the different needs that were being met and not being met. And so we started a discussion with the Hawaii Community Foundation, and we eventually got a $500,000 grant from Hawaii Community Foundation for this program. And this was the first round this last weekend of the cars. We had 20 cars that were given to people who had qualified. And I think they've got another, I want to say 18 people who are qualified at this point that they're going to be giving to in the next couple of weeks, which is just, it's just unreal what they've been able to do. The thing is that they've got a deal worked with Aloha Rentals, which is a division, I believe, of Noko'oi Motors, and they're getting these cars at some deep discounts to do the to buy the cars, and most of them are like a Nissan Sentra. A few years, they're in the rental pool. When they pull them out of the rental pool, they sell them.
Yep.
And so Mark and Beth have, I think they said something to the effect of, well, they had 25 cars reserved initially. And so that's what was going on this Saturday, where the people were coming in and deciding which car they were interested in. and then they have to go get their insurance all lined up. And once they come back to the car dealer with their insurance cards and stuff, that's when the car dealer does all the paperwork, transferring the car to them, and we pay the car dealer, and off they go.
I just think, what a phenomenal program. I'm so excited to hear about that. I went to Lahaina, and it was so hard. So many people, worked in Lahaina and didn't want to leave Lahaina. Of course, some of them had to leave Lahaina for housing reasons. And the people that I spoke to who were willing to go to Kahului or Wailuku, it was really because they had family members that they wanted to have close to the hospital. And because of what had happened with the wildfires and just the stress of the wildfires on maybe other medical conditions they had. And so, but they were saying, they would then need their vehicle. So I'm so glad to know that this amazing program exists. And I just think it must have been phenomenal to be there when people have the joy of getting to pick out the car they want and getting this kind of assistance. It's a huge gift and a much needed gift for so many who've lost so much.
And they've got some really interesting ways of, like, some folks need pickup trucks. Some folks need bigger cars. Some are looking at SUVs, and we're going, how do we help them and not, run out of money so fast that we can't take care of people? And so there's an option for people. They can, if they have some money, they can apply that to getting a bigger car or the pickup. Or if they have, if somebody has a car they want to donate, we can accept donations of cars. There's just that they've got a lot of different things that in their program that make it so easy and so good for people. They didn't put everybody in the same category, kind of thing. Here's a car.
Well, I really love that, and I appreciate that because when it came to some of the money for businesses, it was sort of, in many cases, at the higher levels, equally spread. And that's a challenge because we had businesses of different needs. And so while it helped, it didn't solve issues for those who got a lot of those grants. They carried them forward a little bit longer. And so we still have businesses struggling. So I really, applaud. And I know you've been doing this for years. We did it during COVID. You were, even on our micro enterprise loans, you were serving and helping making decisions on all that. We were focused on the greatest needs first, and that's important. Let's make a plug for donations. How can people donate to this program? Because I think of the long-standing kidney car program that has been doing donations, but so many have want to give to the wildfires, and maybe other people in our community have an aging car or an extra car that they're not really using. That could be provided to a family in need, or maybe with just a little bit of a tune-up, or it could be a great car.
Pam,
how can people donate?
That's a good comment. A car that may need some work. These cars are thoroughly gone over by the mechanic classes at either King K. Kauliki High School or UHMC's mechanic school.
Nice.
So if they needed something done, we fix it so that it's in tip-top condition when it goes out off the lot.
I think that's fantastic. What a great program. What a great opportunity for our youth to learn and get involved in this. I think that's fantastic. Well, we really hope that,
back to the donation.
If you have a car, you'll consider Cars for Maui. Who would they reach out to?
Take a look at their website, carsformaui.org.
Awesome. Well, Susie, I'm so glad that you had time again to join us this morning. I know how crazy busy your schedule is, but bless you for not only joining us, but for the amazing work that you do. You've got a small team, but you make miracles happen. And just really always excited to see the things that come out of these amazing fiscal sponsorships as well. So thank you for that. Thanks for keeping us posted. I'd love to, when you've got a hard solution, love to have you back on and hear how we're tackling that.
I got you. Okay.
I think it's going to be an ongoing issue for us all. And 600, I think, is the new chart topper in the percentage increase that I've heard.
Well, I hate to be number one. I'm always in the background.
Well, I believe maybe because of your leadership, you, as always, you will lead the way and you will make things happen. So hopefully that number goes down.
I got you. Hey, have a great time. We'll see you on Thursday night at the Mayor's Small Business Awards, I hope.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being involved in our program and helping to judge. You're so awesome. We are excited. It's Thursday night, the 19th from 5:30. You can try to get a ticket. You can call Amber at 244-0081. I think we're sold out at this point, but I'm on the Big Island, so she would have the latest and greatest numbers. Sometimes we have some cancellations, so I do know we had a waiting list, but you can always try. It's the great Small Business Awards for Maui County businesses, and we make it a lot of fun. So it's going to be a great night, and thank you for all your help with that.
Oh, you're always welcome. Thank you.
You bet. Well, I will see you there, and in the meantime, have a beautiful Maui day.
You have a beautiful Big Island day, and don't let the volcano interrupt anything.
Fingers crossed.
I
That's the sightseeing adventure I would be looking for. Thank you.
We'll talk to you later. Thanks, Pam.
We have Susie on the show, and I know Gary is going to be reaching out to Cymbree of Cymbree Fevella. Started in 2014. Cymz Cake Pop. However, she quickly realized that she wanted to do more than just cake pops. So in 2019, she rebranded and renamed the business to Cymz Sweet Creations. And Creations is spelled K-R-E-8-T-I-O-N-Z. Lots of fun. And so then she began hustling and selling desserts 24/7 in the hopes of doing something bigger. In the summer of 2019, she officially opened a brick and mortar with a fully equipped commercial kitchen, which I just love hearing the story of those, opening a dessert shop that has been one of Cymbree's dreams. And, she says she had been a college dropout, but now being an entrepreneur was a big deal for her. And little did she know it would become a prime dessert spot for her and her community. So, Gary, is Cymbree available?
It's going straight to voicemail.
It's going straight to voicemail. Okay, well, we'll hope she'll come on. As Gary continues to try.
Hang on. Somebody's calling in. Let's see here. Hold on. Hello, is this Cymbree? No. I guess not. Let me keep trying.
Okay, thanks, Gary. So, Cymbree has been doing some amazing things. We were recently at Clear's big opening. But if you haven't tried Clear, they are a recent chamber member as they established their operations here in Maui at the Maui airport. And it's a phenomenal way to just really bypass the line. And you can quickly set it up. It sets up very quickly. You can add other members of your family on very affordably if you want to do that, to have them part of your package. But it's a great way that once you have your boarding pass, you just look into the little clear screen and either by eye scan or finger scan, it recognizes you. And you have an agent who takes you straight up to the line. That's pretty awesome. But while we were there for the opening, Cymbree and Cymz Sweet Creations had an array of desserts. And by an array, it filled one side of the wall. It just we were in a conference room, and the whole back side of the wall was filled with these amazing different desserts. And if you haven't seen what her desserts look like, you definitely want to check it out, because everything is decorated so beautifully. and it just was really stunning. And so she was not only sharing, we had a chance while we were waiting for some of the program, and she was sharing some of the new flavors she's come out with and some of the other products she's doing, and it just and the way she's been building the business has just been really exciting.
She's on right now. She's on
doing this now for 10 years. So she said she's still in her commercial kitchen, and that's been 5 years and counting, and she's very blessed, and so it's just been interesting to see what's been going on in her world.
She's on, Pam.
She's on. Great. Well, now I can let Cymbree talk about all the amazing things. Welcome, Cymbree, to the show. Great to have you on again.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. I always appreciate it so very much.
Oh, you are very welcome. Well, I was just talking about the stunning array of desserts you did for the Sphere opening at the Kahului Airport. And that I loved getting to connect with you that day, and just you were showing us, and we were getting to sample all the amazing things, and your ube desserts are delightful. You want to tell people a little bit about where you've been going recently and all the stunning flavors we've been doing?
Thank you so much. Yeah, so just a quick recap. So this past December, we made 10 years in business, and we have been at our commercial space for 5 years now in the Maui area. We aren't open for walk-ins, but we are always welcoming orders, and you can place orders online. You can catch us on Facebook and Instagram to see what we're up to. Instagram, we post our schedule for the month of where we'll be, where you can find us. We recently did the Wailuku First Friday for the first time ever, a few weeks ago, and that was just amazing. So much community, coming together, and vendors and everyone so welcoming. So that was really, really good for us. We enjoyed it.
It is. That's a great event to be a part of. I'm glad to hear that you're up there and checking that out.
Yeah, it was awesome. So so many people came out, and such a good vibe, and just so much other vendors and local goodies and things to see and entertainment. It's phenomenal. So I hope they keep it going, and we are looking forward to attending Fourth Friday coming up, in a few months and stuff like that. So we've been keeping busy with events, and all of that good stuff and all of that. So we're coming up to the holidays, and it's getting a little crazy busy good, because at one point with business, everyone knows this, there's always slow season, so we kind of felt that certain dips during the summertime. That's how it goes. It comes in waves. It's something that we roll with. We have to learn how to roll with it. That's just part of the game. So,
but you're having people. People need to get rolling with it, because you're already booking into 2025 and 2026 for some of your big events like weddings and parties and birthdays. And Cymbree's down, I think. If you can try her back.
Yeah, hold on one second.
She has, as she was sharing, she's been doing things in some waves, but I understand that they are currently taking orders for 2025 and 2026 and encouraging people to book early, because when you've got those bigger orders like weddings and birthdays or major company parties and more, it takes some more advanced planning. And so I know she's been looking forward to getting some things scheduled so that she can accommodate as many people as possible, which is fantastic. And I'm hoping we get her back, because the other thing that she's been doing is she is really a champion for looking at how to support small businesses and local businesses. And, she's also looking for ways to partner with companies and wants to always tell a story with people and see how businesses can support each other. So hopefully we'll get her back on and hear a little bit more about what she's doing there. But I can share, because we did release the announcement for this year's Made in Maui County Festival, that she will be there this November 1st and 2nd. And the Maid of Maui County Festival is always the first Friday and Saturday in November. And we are thrilled to have 142 vendors each year at the Maui Arts and Cultural Center. It is the place to see and meet local manufacturers who are making truly locally made products with 51% of the value of the product made in Hawaii. And Cymbree has participated in the past with Cymz Sweet Creations, and we're excited to have her back again. She is one of those local favorites. But it's going to be a great year this year, and we're thrilled to just be back. Is she on? Okay, thanks, Gary, for the heads up. So just we're thrilled to have another great year. Last year, I know so many businesses were devastated by the wildfires. So many businesses were trying to help the businesses devastated by the wildfires. And what was really wonderful was, coming off an August 8th wildfire and wondering, okay, well, is November too close? So many people in Lahaina, even companies who couldn't come, said, no, we want you to hold the Maid of Maui County Festival. And it was a blessing because some companies couldn't come. Other companies were able to get ready, and they were excited to come. Many of the vendors had stuff sold in stores. Many of them lost all their product, but they didn't lose their home or their business. But it was a great blessing, and everybody worked so hard. It was even though the attendance was down, and in large part, of course, our visitor attendance was way down during that time, the shopping and the love for our vendors was just over the moon. Every vendor was just elated and so grateful because the outpouring of love from our community was so amazing for them. And they talked about how people just shared and understood the heartache they were going through at that time.
Okay, Pam, we have her back on.
Oh, yeah, you got Cymbree back?
Yes.
Oh, good. Fantastic. Okay, Cymbree, I was just talking about the Maid of Maui County Festival last year and how you're going to be able to attend this year.
Yes, I'm so excited. So this is our second year that we will be attending. And last year was an amazing experience. There was a crew of us. So I had myself, my husband, my sister-in-law, and my brother-in-law, and his best friend from the Big Island come and help us. So yeah, it was so awesome. We had such an amazing time where we were in that in that room. What is it? The collector's corner or the artisan space.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, I know we have two rooms: the collector's corner or the artisan showcase, both with AC.
Uh-huh.
For products like yours, I'm sure was very helpful.
Yes, it's
tell us
fun
a little bit about. I'd love to be telling people about how
to us on the right side of us.
It's always looking to support local and working together with others.
So when one of the helpers had left,
some of the work,
like, "Oh my gosh, okay, thank you guys for all the fun and all the laughs and everything" when she left, because it was just it was fun. We had fun with everyone, all the other vendors there in that room with us. So yeah.
Yeah. And then I was also mentioning that you're already starting to look at booking in 2025 and 26 for big parties. How do people get a hold of you and make sure that if they've got something coming up, they get on your calendar?
Yes, definitely. So to contact us, we do have a couple of ways. Normally, you can definitely check out our website. So www.cymz Sweet Creations is always one that we kind of have a hard time with, but it's KRE8, the number 8, TIONZ.com. So you can submit an inquiry there. You can see our menu. You can see the work that we've done. All of the contact information is there on our website, and then we do have an option also if you can't decide what you want and you need a little assistance. We do have a tab that is phone consultation, so you get to speak with me for half an hour. It's a free phone consultation. We can go over any questions you have about your, specific date, if it's a wedding, a birthday party, anniversary, anything in regards to that. I can recommend things. If you have a budget, we can go over that. So, that's a couple of options. We do have Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, we have a lot of our work that we, display and we do as far as events and, cakes and a whole bunch of, things are on our Instagram there too to help you kind of visually see what it is that we make or things that we've done for some other clients, like our portfolio, I would say, in a way. So yeah, I look forward to working with everybody for the upcoming year. I do have some people some clients already booked for 2025. So I always encourage people to, book early and get on our calendar so we can have your date reserved. We can have everything ready to go. So that's one less stress you have to worry about. So yeah.
That's so true. Well, I know that your business was more indirectly affected by the wildfire, but in some ways directly impacted given some of the other partners you had, because you had been networking and working with so many different businesses to try and support each other. Can you tell us a little bit about how it's been since the wildfires and what it was like going through that devastating time?
Yeah, so with the wildfires, it's been just a lot for everyone. I know we weren't directly impacted as far as being in that area or in, that particular zone as much as other people. But we did have family close to us that was impacted, and, some clients and friends and stuff that, lost everything. So I have a cousin that they've been on the news, a cousin and my auntie who have been on the news a few times and stuff to talk about, the housing crisis and how that's still ongoing and, all of those things that they're still waiting on, paperwork and documents and all of those other things. But, it's taking a toll, on everyone physically, spiritually, mentally, even business-wise. So, a lot of, I do have other cousins that work in the hotel industry, so it's been, again, an up and down where it's busy and then it's not busy. So you have high occupancy, all of those things. So it's been a spiral in a sense for everyone, trying to just gather to move forward, right? So to rebuild business, rebuild housing, rebuild, clientele, relationships, and just, trying to move forward. But, it's never easy for one, just to, a lot of our childhood was spent on Front Street. So, childhood and then growing up into adulthood and stuff under the banyan tree. So, just even sometimes driving out there to do a delivery or, a show or event or something, it's just like unbearable to see, because it'll never be what we, remembered it to be, like all the good hangout spots and, food and restaurants and everything like that. It's just so different, it's always hard to see, even when with rebuilding it, anything can be rebuilt, but as far as like the memories made and all of that is there, they'll be with us forever, but it'll just be a different, vibe, in a such moving forward. But yeah, with business in us, it's been with that happening with the fire, it's been rough. We have a really good friend, Denise Black. I believe she moved back to the mainland. She was the owner of Lahaina Loft, so we used to have weddings and events there, and she would throw great, events and parties and weddings and work with a lot of other local vendors and stuff. So that location was epic. You would just walk out to, her back area, and you could just oversee, Front Street and the water and the sun and, hitting the water and just everyone, walking and traveling down on Front Street. So it was really, really, really hard to stomach that, and just so many other people on Front Street and just Lahaina in general, and businesses and restaurants. So it's a lot for everyone to still, kind of pick up the pieces and move on. But we have to, do what we have to do and moving forward to and be positive and helping one another, and community is so important. So the resilience of the community has been, just the unity of everybody has been so tremendous, coming together. And when there was, time of need of food and, helping and, all of those things of getting food over and transportation and all of that by boat, the community was doing what had to be done, during that time. Yeah.
Well, I know you mentioned Denise, and it was very sad because, she had, she really built something amazing at the loft, and so many. We heard so many stories. The gal who, Local Roots, who had bought the chart house, and that burnt down as well, and had just bought it prior to that happening, and was ready to move her store there. So many big changes. Nice to see the partnerships that you had with folks in Lahaina, creating, cooperative relationships out there with your business, and as we move forward and continuing. And housing, of course, folks, housing is number one for the Chamber. We want to see expeditiously at this point for those who have a need. Well, Cymbree, I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. I just appreciate you and all that you're doing, and wonderful, delicious treats. Try the ube. Give her a call. Try it. There's so many amazing things that she does. It's all delicious. Absolutely everything. But yeah, try them all. Everybody has an occasion at some point that you can use these amazing, delicious treats. And for all of you listening in, I wish you blessings and best wishes for a beautiful Maui day and week from the Big Island today. So I hope you'll join us again next Tuesday. And ahui no.